Hello, my name is Riley Schmitz, and welcome back to This is a Draft, the podcast where I, a 20 something freelance design strategist, try to share my lived experiences in a way that's going to help me, and possibly you, if that's your thing, navigate life and business in the most fulfilled and content way possible. On that note, this is a draft on becoming the best person you can be in business and in life. So, you may be asking, another rebrand? Really? Didn't you just do this last year? The answer is yes. Yes, I did. But this time it's different. I promise. It really is. The reason for this rebrand was that I just wanted to have kind of a more casual vibe to it. Um, this is a draft, obviously, meaning this is literally a draft. I'm going to take this video, I'm gonna post it. No editing will be happening. I'm trying to live a more laid back life, a messier life, if you will. Because I am terribly a perfectionist to my detriment. So I'm trying to escape that loophole by just bullet points and talking to a camera. Um, so focusing again on progress without perfection. I know I said that last year, but I was lying to myself. I don't know who I was trying to fool. That's okay. This new title and vibe that we've got here also kind of allows for more personal discussion, which I think will be nice. It was heavily requested throughout my social circle that I talk more about myself in these episodes. Another big thing you're probably noticing, I don't have a guest. Well, that's another great thing to notice. This is going to be a little bit awkward for me to get going. Just talking to myself, but these will be solo episodes for the next few at least. I'll likely have a couple of guests on at some point this season, but to get myself to be consistent, I feel like I need to be consistent within myself first before trying to schedule and rely on other people. Just part of what I'm working on. So, let's reflect a little bit on 2025. I learned a lot of what I don't want. It was a year of ups and downs. A lot of downs. But it was great learning experiences, all of it, of course. But I did learn a lot of who I don't want to be, what I don't want to do, characteristics that I really do not want to exude. And through all of that, obviously seeing those habits in other people, I realized that I am worth a lot more than the bare minimum, and I deserve respect. And you'd think that that is common knowledge. Apparently not, but I digress. So I just have to raise my standards, I guess. That's one of my key takeaways from this year, and I've already kind of started implementing that, especially in the work life. Not taking a job just because I feel like I need a job. I'm a freelancer. I don't need to take the first full time opportunity that comes up. And that's a loop that's been stuck in my head because I think it's a lot of self doubt that creeps up and tells me that I need stability. I don't need stability. I need to build a business. That's what I need. I feel so awkward. I will get used to this, I assure you. Yeah. And last year I did lie to myself a lot. Like I said, I was going to do things that I absolutely did not do. So this year's going to be different, for sure. Um, I'm really locking in. Now, I won't bait you guys. We are going to talk a little bit about my first agency experience since I know a lot of the listeners that I already have are people who know me in real life. So you would know that I did work at an agency for a few months over the summer. We're going to talk about that and what happened there and why I am no longer working at that agency and all of the things that I learned in that situation because I feel like it's very important to know. I feel like this is a common experience. Something tells me that this is a common experience. So I feel like it's an important thing to think about consistently. Trust me, I've been beating this dead horse for 4 months because it's just a little bit of tea, you know? Like it's a bit interesting. I don't know. There's things to talk about. For the 4 months after I graduated, after I finished school, I had a job. It was great. It was offered to me before I left school, so I figured, wow, this is such an amazing opportunity. It seemed like a great opportunity. My boss was a fantastic salesman. I will definitely give him that. So I won't say that I didn't learn anything, because of course I did. Anyone who knows me knows that I could squeeze a drop of learning out of any situation. I learned quite a lot about client management. I kind of went in knowing quite a bit about client management, so that really helped me with my job because I was basically an account manager. I learned that companies spend 3 to 12% of their gross income on marketing. I thought that was super interesting and very insightful, although I have read on other sources recently that it is not 3 to 12, it's 6 to 20. Might vary by location, might vary by size of company. I'm not quite sure, but that's something I'll definitely be looking further into because I think it's quite interesting. I learned also a lot of, like I said before, what not to do. What I don't want to be doing and shouldn't be doing in order to run a successful and smooth agency. Anyone who knows me personally knows that that is one of my goals in life. Probably my top goal in life right now. It's the one I'm most focused on right now. Is that I want to run a creative agency and I want to be successful with that. I want to have. I don't know exactly how many employees yet. Don't want to make any promises to anyone that's not myself. But I can see myself being in that situation and I can see myself doing it really well. And at the end of the day, that agency that I worked at was just a very draining environment. Um, I won't get too deep into it, but the financial management was not the best. And it was a lot of confidence and hard skills, like software skills, disguised as business expertise, business acumen that was trying to be passed down to me, but it wasn't making sense. I'm heavily focused on knowing and being great at the business side of things because I know I can hire people to do skills that I am less good at. Of course, I put in all the practice that I need to be great until I can afford to hire people. And of course, I always want to be kind of more hands-on with the creative side of things. But, yeah, I think it was just a large disagreement on the way a business should be run. And I was frustrated. By about the 2.5 2 month mark, I was quite frustrated, just constantly angry and on edge. So I was looking for a way out. I was planning on quitting. I was at that time looking for other jobs because I did not believe that I could succeed freelancing, which, I mean, fair enough to myself. That's daunting, honestly. Um, but I got fired. Oh, I know. Even saying that out loud, saying that on the internet is so nerve-wracking for me. Even though, like, I will fully own it. My performance dropped the second that I stopped feeling valued. The second that I noticed that there were people who were trying deliberately to belittle me. And that is not a learning style that works for me. I know some people really they like to feel stupid, and that's how they learn. I'm not like that. I cannot wrap my head around being like that, but that is what was happening. That's how I was being treated. I was asking for it not to happen. It was still happening. So, of course, I kind of let go of my performance a little bit and just coasted for as long as I could while I looked for other jobs. Um, yeah. So that was a tough pill to swallow for me. Being the overachiever that I am, I nearly died. I was honestly relieved at first though. The emotional weight of it didn't hit me until about a week later. But for the first week, I was riding cloud nine. I was quite happy to be out of that situation, and I don't think I realized how much weight it was putting on me until it was over. Just so suddenly, it was over. Like, I got fired at about 10:30 in the morning, and by noon I could no longer access my emails, my Slack, anything. It was wild how fast it all happened. One of the clients that I was working for at said agency did come to me a couple weeks after and ask if I was going out on my own. And that was quite nice, actually. I am still working with that client today, and hopefully I will be for quite a few years. They are lovely company. If anyone from there is watching this, hi, I just saw you this morning. um, yeah. So that's about it. That's the tea that I had to spill. I'm glad that it happened. I think under different circumstances, if I wasn't such a I will say perfectionist. I think perfectionist is the right word to use there. Or I guess overachiever could be used too. If I didn't want to take on everything and be in control of everything, I'm bossy. That's what it is. I'm bossy. If I wasn't such a control freak, so bossy, I think it would have worked out really well. But I think also the fact that I am bossy is what makes it so that I will succeed in the future, and I did take so much from this that will help me out on my future endeavors. So, that is that 4-month chapter of my life. It was a whirlwind, to say the absolute least. It took me a while to get back on my feet. Um, but it wasn't all that bad. So now, I've decided that this year is the year that I lock in. I am entering my CEO era. If it's the last thing I do, I don't care who gets in my way, what happens is collateral damage. This is frickin' happening. Also, just got out of a relationship. It was a great relationship. We are still friends. We just really weren't right for each other. It was getting towards the toxic side by the time it ended. So I did also learn quite a lot from that, obviously, as one does. Things actually got a lot better in my life after I broke that off. Just because I feel like I kind of lost myself in that. And there's a whole episode coming on that next week, the act of losing yourself, the art of losing yourself, and finding yourself again. Of course, that's the most important part. So winter break was quite restful. I was sicker than a dog for a couple weeks. I think everyone was. From what I've heard, every single person that I know was deathly ill at some point on Christmas break. But I did take real resting time, aside from the time that I spent being bedridden and sick. It was a good way to close out the year. Got to see some family. My dad turned 60. That was super exciting stuff. So, yeah. That's the tea. That's what's happened. And I guess now we move into self-reflection on everything that happened last year, everything that I want to bring with me into this year, that I'm leaving behind, etc., and all of my reasoning for that. I will always be a huge advocate for learning from other people's mistakes. There is so much to be said for that skill of being able to point out a mistake that someone else made, that you didn't have to make, and reflect on it to the point that you won't make it. You might still make some variation of it, but it likely won't be as bad. So, it's not in the sense that, like, you're gonna do something, a friend tells you, oh, don't do this, this is what happened when I did that. It's not through storytelling that this happens, it's just, like, from knowing people. You know people, you watch them carry themselves through life, and you catch little things. Maybe it's just me, because I'm a bit of a judgy bitch, but I feel like most people catch things as in their friends, in their relationships, in their coworkers, etc., that they would realize as something that is taking them down the wrong path in one way or another. For example, the first one on my list that I have here, in a working setting, I want to be patient in my business decisions because I spent a lot of time this year with people who were not patient, very rushed, very spontaneous in their business decisions, and that just didn't make sense to me. I want to provide myself with enough stability that I have the liberty of going slow, taking things easy, weighing all of my options before I come to a conclusion. I feel like, yeah, that it just makes more sense in my mind. That is, and that's kind of the thing I mean about differing opinions and how a business should be run. I'm a very calculated person. I'm not doing anything rash. I would love to look at every possible outcome before I do anything. I get that from my mother. Next on my list for who I want to be in a working setting, kind and compassionate in my leadership, and absolutely never belittling others. Never ever. If I ever catch myself doing that, I'm getting a smack on the back of the hand. Like, kind but still stern, to the point that it gets across. You want to make sure that your point gets across, but just leading with understanding instead of, oh, why did you do it that way? Like, that's not nice. Come on. Um, and then last on my work setting list of who I want to be in the workplace this year, honest. I want to be so honest, so caring, like, and I'm talking taking ownership for my mistakes. Remembering that I work for them. This was a huge problem that I saw a lot over my work experience in the summer. That it was kind of a side point, like a forgotten point, that the agency works for the client, not the other way around. So it sometimes felt like when I was talking to my boss, he not only imagined himself as our boss in the office, but it also gave the impression that he was the client's boss too, which it never really sat right with me. But like he wanted a say on their decisions, their hiring decisions, etc. And I don't know. I guess it is one way of doing it. You are the expert in that situation, technically. I don't understand. It feels disrespectful to me. I'm not saying explicitly that it is disrespectful. I'm just saying that it feels like it takes away from your client relationship. It makes it harder to build a client relationship because, of course, it's built on respect. If you are hiring me, you are still my boss, even though I know more about the thing that you hired me for. Like, right? That's just how it makes sense in my mind. I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody, so I'm going to stop talking there because none of this was in my notes. I wrote these notes to keep myself in check, actually, so I have to follow them. Next up on the list, this is just kind of a general one, staying humble. I know I'm good at what I do. There's absolutely no reason for me to boast about it. I will always, I also learned this from my ex-boss, I will always be realistic about where I am. I do not want to get anyone's hopes up so that they are disappointed when they say in the future maybe come tour my office or get my welcome package or I don't know, get on our first discovery call. You will never catch me talking myself up to the point that someone meets me and is disappointed. Someone gets to know me and is disappointed. I would rather underpromise and overdeliver every single time. Also, I do believe that pretending you already have it all or are living the dream, like literally, and you mean that when you say it, I think it stunts your growth. Just like a psychological thing, but people want to help out, but they don't want to help out if you say you're already doing perfectly fine. That'll take away from that. There's no point in going out and making connections and networking if you're just going to tout yourself as the biggest guy in the room, the most important person. Because they don't care then anymore. It takes away the camaraderie of commiserating. It strips that element of humanity away. And I just think that commiserating is such an important part to networking. And like nobody teaches you this shit, but it's just something that I've observed. My strongest connections across all ages, across all industries, are people that I can commiserate with. People love to complain. What can I say? As long as you can do it in a positive light and help each other with your complaints, that's the point of having connections. I'm getting so excited about this. I'm having a really good day today. So that's why I'm so hyper. I'm in a flow state right now. Anyways, last part on this little note that I have here. This line is really good. Props to myself. Be honest about your struggles. Do not try to tout yourself to the industry as one of the big dogs when you're not, or you never will be. I put that last part in all caps, just in case you were wondering. Unscripted, unplanned, and the fact that I know in my head that I'm not planning on editing this, except for that one awkward part at the beginning that I'm gonna cut out. It's stressing me out. It's stressing me out, guys. I'll get more natural at this, I swear. Now, moving on to the personal section. Who I want to be in a more inward, self-facing way. I am canceling laziness in 2025, actually. I know, like, cancel culture should be dead, but this is the last thing, I promise. I learned this, actually, in my relationship. I found, especially near the end, but kind of for the whole thing, every time we got together, we were just so lazy. We didn't do fuck all. Like, we just kind of laid there, watched TV. Like, nothing. I did not get much accomplished. And anyone who knows me, again, knows that is very unlike me. As I love working around the clock. There's nothing I love more. I'm kidding. I'm also trying to work on that habit. But yeah, I don't know. I saw the consequences of that in the way I felt physically, the way I kind of slipped into that ugly cycle of just not feeling like doing anything because I had no momentum. I think momentum is such an important thing to keep in the front of your mind when you don't feel like doing anything. Because there are days that I wake up and I want to do absolutely nothing. There's nothing I would love more than to do nothing. But I think to myself that an object in motion stays in motion, and that's the cheesiest thing that I've ever said, but it's true. And I get up and I go about my day. Even if it's literally just going through the motions, that's something that I've been doing a lot recently, as I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of having a life and being really all in on my career. Some days I will just go through the motions. I'll get maybe a total of 2 hours of work done, but I get out of bed, I make my bed, I go work, and if I'm lucky, I will force myself to get some movement in. That's been a battle. But yeah, it's a lot of pretending. Faking it till you make it is the absolute realest thing, as long as you're not telling everybody you're better than you are. Anyways, last one. Being grateful. That's so cliche, but being grateful is so important. And I realized I had kind of an aha moment. Not that I didn't know that being grateful was important before. I'm pretty sure every influencer has said that at least once. But I was out to eat with someone. I forget who it was. It may have been my ex-boyfriend. I'm not sure. exactly when this instance happened, but I have never understood the act of going out to eat, planning to go out to eat, picking the restaurant, choosing what you're gonna have, and then openly expressing disappointment when your food gets to you. And it's not like I don't explicitly judge people for this. It's just like it's something that I can't wrap my head around because I I don't know. Like first of all, in this economy, you're you're buying something and then you're going to be disappointed in it. But I don't know. It's the act of going out, spending money on yourself and you do it to kind of like feel glamorous. I don't know. That's why I go out to eat. But it's a privilege that not everybody has to go out to eat. And I'm just always too overwhelmed by the excitement of the experience to be disappointed in it. But I have caught myself slip a couple times where, like, I wasn't enjoying it as much as I usually do, my food, I mean. Or, like, it's something that I could make at home. And I've caught myself being a little bit disappointed and had to reel myself back in to be like, no, you don't get to do that because this was 25 fucking dollars. It's a portion of spaghetti this big. But I digress. I don't know. It's a gratitude mindset shift that I think has really helped me get more excited about the little things. That's just one example, of course. It could be really anything. But yeah, being more grateful. I'm working on that. I talk about the things that I'm grateful for. At least I try to, as often as I can. Next up, and second last on my list of the person that I want to be towards myself, discipline over motivation. The word motivation is no longer in my vocabulary this year. I just need to be disciplined. That's actually it. I am so bad with discipline. I always have been. That's why my time management skills are so bad and I'm always late for everything. That's why almost every piece of schoolwork that I ever handed in my life was late. I need to work on my discipline. I really do. And I've been doing quite good this year so far. We're 12 days in. I'm gonna knock on wood. But yeah, I had someone tell me this year to be gentle with myself when I lacked motivation. And I thought about it for a while, and then I realized that I did not like that advice. I I forget who gave it to me again, but it didn't sit right with me because what I think is when you're not motivated, that's when you need to be the most disciplined and a bit harder on yourself, honestly. Like, whip yourself into shape. I don't know if we're allowed to say that in this day and age. But you have to be hard on yourself to break that cycle of feeling like you need motivation. You don't, actually. Most people rely on discipline their whole lives. The top performers rely on discipline. Do you think they wake up and they're like, every single day? I doubt it. I don't think anyone's getting that excited the moment they jump out of bed every single day to have that consistent of a life. You know, so I'm not the biggest fan of gentle parenting myself. I never have been. My mom never gentle parented me. She still doesn't. Like it's a very I don't know. Eat or be eaten. That's the world. So, I believe in disciplining yourself even if it means you have to bully yourself a little bit. Of course, I'm nice to myself on throughout the rest of the days of my life with my discipline. It is very kind discipline. Um, but no, I don't believe in being gentle on low motivation days. I think those are the days that you have to push the hardest to break the habit of relying on motivation. That's just my hot take, though. Last point, setting boundaries, even if it loses you relationships. I have always been the one to be getting way too overly excited about new friendships and new relationships. And in that habit, I show all of these massive signs that I should be clocking myself for of just self disrespect in like trying to keep people and trying to adapt to the way they do things, kind of go with the flow. I'm not a go with the flow person. I never will be. I I don't think I'm capable of it. It's just not the way I roll. But I tend to let a lot more things slide in the early stages of friendships and relationships, which unfortunately leads me to resent people later on, which is something that I'm going to fix this year. Because I don't like that habit in myself. I think that I should just keep my boundaries in place and get my values to be so rock hard that they are unshakable and let people come to me. But I digress. That's the last time I'll say that. In conclusion, I am going to be making 2026 the best year yet, and I hope that anyone listening to this is with me on that. I know this was a bit of a rambly one. If you made it to the end, thank you for sticking with me. That honestly means a lot. I will get more used to talking to myself in a quiet room with nothing but talking points very soon. I'm gonna practice, I promise. And as I post more and more episodes, of course, I will get more and more practice. But I hope that you got, if nothing else, a little bit of joy, maybe some knowledge, maybe a new perspective that you've been not seeing out of this episode. And I am confident that this year is going to serve me and you well. We're gonna do great. I'm gonna teach myself discipline. Maybe you are too, if you don't have any, like me. And just getting clear on what I want out of life. My true purpose. I think that my true purpose is to create. I think. I'm pretty sure. I've always been a creative person. So, and on my life, I swear I will be consistent with these episodes. I'm going to try to drop one once a week, but if I can't, it will be bi-weekly. And that is a flexible thing that I can be consistent with. But I will never skip 3 weeks in a row. Never. If I do, someone hold me to this. I don't know. I have it in my calendar, so it should happen. Anyways, you can find me at Riley Mullen Schmitz on Instagram. I forget what my YouTube handle is, but you can also find This Is a Draft on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and wherever else you get your podcasts. This has been a draft on entering 2026 as a better person in life and in business. And with that, I will talk to you next week.